Hey everybody, Garrick Rummel here with Duty to Train. I wanted to talk with you about some riots that just happened over the last couple of days in Ireland and what it kind of means like in the broader world because I think that this is honestly just something that's going to continue to happen. It doesn't seem like things are slowing down. And again, not trying to fearmonger, you just have to kind of like piece these things together and you don't have to be, Einstein to do it. So what happened was, I'm just going to share my screen. This is according to the Irish Times, but you know, the facts are just the facts. This guy, I guess he was an immigrant. He had been around for like 20 years, but there was a stabbing, and the guy had stabbed three infants and a woman in her 30s. And one of the children, a 5-year-old girl, was left fighting for her life. This is November 23rd, so this was on Thursday. And basically, what happened is it erupted into a full blown riot, and there's a video down here I just wanted to show you. There you go. And so what happened was, I guess there's been, a huge influx of migrants into Ireland recently, just frankly, like there has been like all over the world. And Irish immigrants are pissed off because, one of these immigrants, and I guess he had been around for a really long time, but it was just kind of like a flashpoint, one of those things that happened where like it just starts really like boiling over. And, they're like, hey, we don't feel safe in our country. Our government's not doing anything about it. And in the meantime, and the reason I want to talk about this because it is like happening in Ireland. Like, why does this matter? But this is the exact same thing that's happening in America, right? I mean, we have been talking about the border for like literally 20 years. I mean, Trump was able to like tamp it down, but people were still coming across. It was a lot better than it is now. I mean, it seems like, frankly, in the past couple of years, like there have been stories about like Biden telling people to just let people in and like tear down barriers. I mean, it's like wild stuff. And like we have no idea who's coming into the country, And if you're a terrorist organization like Hamas, why would you not send some people down to the southern border, tell them to come in, and say, hey, just wait for orders. Just wait for orders. Don't need to do anything right now. Wait until this site gets really riled up. Let's like keep this rolling. But then like have these connections, spread them out all over the cities, and then finally one day just be like, okay, go. And this is not crazy. Like think about how easy that would be. I mean, there are so many videos of like migrant caravans coming up to the southern border, and a ton of these people. I mean, there are so many pictures, and they're just like fighting age military or military like fighting age men, and aren't a ton of like women and children. And sometimes there are a lot of women and children. I'm sure there are a lot of women and children who want to get into the U.S. But if you're a terrorist organization, right, or you're someone who wants to like infiltrate the United States, like this is not some conspiracy theory. It's like it could be not happening. Sure, it could not be happening. Totally, but it totally could be happening. And if there's people all over the world who hate America, why wouldn't they do this? Why wouldn't they do this? And so what's happening in Ireland, I feel like is just indicative of kind of what's going to eventually happen all over the place, because it seems like for whatever reason, governments all over the world want to just like bring in migrants all over the place and basically just almost like not displace their own population, but make their own population a far smaller percentage of the overall population. They just want to kind of like water it down. And I'm not talking like race wise. I'm talking values wise. Like one of the things that we obviously need to start doing is, if you don't have the values of America in your heart when you come to America, you don't get into America. We have to start researching this, because there are like protests all over, America right now where people are like supporting Hamas. And if you're an American and you support Hamas, free speech, dude. Free speech. I am totally for that, 100% support it. I don't support you in any way, shape, or form. But if the Nazis were allowed to, march in Schenectady, I don't know, I forget the exact city, but they basically, Nazis, I forget what year, but it was quite a while ago. And it was like pretty close to after World War II. And they marched in like a very, very Jewish populated area in the United States. And, it's legal, right? And you have to have that right. People have to have the right of free speech. And even if you're supporting the Nazis, or if you're supporting some terrorist organization, if you're not specifically calling for violence, you have to be allowed to speak. However, if you're not an American citizen, we don't have to let you in. If you don't have our values, out you go. So I think that this Ireland, issue is something that I don't think it's going to take very long for this problem to come here and like really start causing some big problems. Because frankly, a lot of people are like all pro immigration, but once you stop feeling safe, you're not going to feel very pro immigration at that point. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And again, it's not a conspiracy theory, right? If you hated somebody, if you hated a country that bad, and you had tons of military aged men willing to go and fight for a cause that they believed in, why would you not send them down to our southern border and say, hey, go find a job somewhere, lay low, we'll connect with you, I don't know, do whatever, but eventually, they could like activate all these people. That's not crazy to say. That's not crazy to say at all. And anyone who's like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory, you're not living in reality. There are evil people in this world who want to destroy America for sure. And it's not crazy to say that, and you shouldn't feel crazy for thinking that, because if you have your head so in the clouds that you think that there aren't people who want to take over our country and create like absolute chaos, they're not seeing what's happening in the world right now and like, hey, let's go, like now's the time, like let's get people in America. How do we get them in? Just send them in through the southern border. They don't care, obviously, like we're just letting people in. It's crazy. So anyway, that happened over the weekend, riots in Ireland. I think that this is just gonna, again, it's just gonna keep on going, and eventually I think it's gonna happen here. I don't know like really what that means, like whether or not it's just like, stabbings and small things, but eventually this is gonna like reach a tipping point like all over the world. And we're gonna have to figure out how to deal with this. But the problem is, once you let millions and millions of people in who don't share our values in America, how do you then deal with them? I'm not talking like genocide. I'm genuinely asking, how do you deal with that problem? It's a massive, massive problem, especially when a lot of those people are military, like fighting aged men. They're not going to go quietly. So it's going to be very, very interesting. So anyway, until next time, stay safe, live free, buy a gun. Seriously, buy a gun, get some training. Duty to train is the best way. It's the best way to learn how to shoot and defend yourself with a pistol. And like and subscribe to this channel, because I think that I'm doing some good here. And if you think so too, and you like my videos, then like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time. See ya.